All right, guys, the last of the games. Let's go. Oakland at the Jets. I like Oakland 24-6. I think Oakland has to show up this game. If they don't, I think their team loses faith. So I think Dennis Allen comes up with a really good plan. The Jets, they're starting Geno Smith, which might actually be an advantage for the Raiders. Their defense hasn't gotten any pressure on anybody. Their back end, in a lot of times the back end is good because of the front end, and they'll probably give up big plays. You have Philip Adams in, and you're probably gonna have Jimmy Chekwa because Mike Jenkins had a concussion. But I really like what the offense is doing, and I think Matt McGloin finally gets his win. And I like Oakland in this game. And the next, Atlanta at Green Bay. Atlanta, I think, wins this game 25 or 35-17. After seeing what Matt Stafford did, I think he can throw just as many yards, not as many touchdowns, but Green Bay, they're just going to be lucky to be there. Next, Cleveland at New England. Cleveland's technically in that wild card spot chase, same with Oakland and New York, but they're not going to get it. And you lose Brandon Weeden, your last quarterback that knows the system, and you have to bring in Caleb Haney. It's all bad. Their defense, they can only do so much. The running game, you have Willis McGahee and Chris Obonamu, and I don't trust them. New England 30-6. Tampa Bay Buffalo. Tampa Bay 28-26. Tampa Bay was on a roll before last week. I think it continues. Buffalo kind of got exposed against Atlanta that you can't throw on them. Luckily, Tampa Bay, Mike Glennon's doing pretty well throwing the ball, so I'm going to take Tampa Bay. And then Kansas City at Washington, Kansas City 30-10. Kansas City's defense will dominate RG3 to RG3. Is Colin Kaepernick. He's a run-first quarterback, except he's not as big, so he gets hurt more. I think Alex Smith can outperform that defense because, you've seen what he did against Denver's, you've seen what he did against San Diego's. All three are horrible defenses, and yet he can only throw against a bad defense. We've seen what he's done against some pretty good defenses. He gets about 20 points. But over the last three games, 28, 30-something against San Diego, another 20-something against Denver in both the games. So it's his time to show that he's a quarterback. He needs to take that leap after those three tough losses in a row and show that he can go against another team and really dictate the game. Next, Minnesota at Baltimore. I'm going to take the upset, Minnesota over Baltimore. And I like Minnesota because Adrian Peterson is a stud. Matt Castle, I think, is going to start at quarterback. He gives them the best chance to win. I think the wide receivers come into play a little bit more. Baltimore, they can get a pretty good pass rush, but it only goes so far when you got to respect the run with Adrian Peterson the way that they have to. Even then, I don't think they can stop Adrian Peterson. I don't think anybody can stop Adrian Peterson. So I'm going to take Minnesota again, upset 26-22. And then last, St. Louis at Arizona. It would have more implications if St. Louis wasn't out of it. Still a good defense for St. Louis. Arizona, again, a good defense. Got shot at a lot with the Eagles. But I expect them to do pretty well against a bad St. Louis offense. Zach Stacy's a great running back, but you have Kellen Clemens at quarterback. It's kind of like the Adrian Peterson thing where, you can only do so much, even though I wouldn't suggest Zach Stacy be Adrian Peterson. But he has a motor, he runs hard, he gets he'll get 80 to 100 yards a game behind a pretty bad offensive line with no throwing game whatsoever. I think Arizona wins this game 27-13, and the only way St. Louis wins is if Tavon Austin takes off. Don't see it happening again. Arizona, St. Louis, Arizona wins. That's the rest of the picks for this week. Tomorrow is power rankings and analysis, and then the next day is football. So everyone enjoy, keep watching, subscribe, tell friends, views, get me famous, get me the money.